The PvP meta in Destiny 2 has shifted drastically with the arrival of the final shape. In today's video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of the statistics of the numbers of the most powerful, the most used weapons, and the most used subclasses with the arrival of the final shape, now that we've had an entire weekend of trials to see what people are using and what people are finding to be especially potent. So the first thing we need to mention, of course, the exotic pulse rifle, the Red Death Reformed, the #1 most used weapon. As it stands right now, it's almost 1.6 million kills. The trials weekend is yet to be over though, so I'm sure it'll surpass that. The #1 most used exotic, Red Death Reformed. Have you been using this thing in PvP? I decided to give it a try right here in this gameplay. This was my first trials game in the final shape, and it felt pretty good. It felt really strong. But it should also be mentioned that the Kvastov is up here as well. This exotic auto rifle has really nice, really clean recoil, so I'm not too surprised. I have yet to try it in PvP, the Kvastov. I'll have to give it a try now that I can see how close those numbers are though. 1.6 almost for Red Death and 1.3 almost for Kvastov. They're very, very close. It might have been due to the Kvastov bug that maybe not everyone has it just yet or something. I'm not sure. Have you used Red Death? Have you used Kvastov? Comment down below which one you think is better, because they are in a real battle for #1 right now. The #3 most used weapon, and in a distant #3, right, only 400,000, is the Igneous Hammer Adept, 120 RPM hand cannon, followed up by the Summoner Adept, which is the Adept drop this week. And then we have the Conditional Finality, makes it into the top 5 there, followed up by the Rose, the regular Summoner, the Someday Shotgun, which is the new shotgun you can get in the final shape, and then we have the Matador 64. And lastly, the Ace of Spades, rounding off our top 10 most used weapons in trials this weekend. However, we can actually pull up some data from previous weekends and see what happened last time we were playing trials before the final shape. This is Cirrus Plaza. We can pull up all the statistics thanks to DestinyTrialsReport. And we got the #1 most used weapon being Conditional Finality shotgun, which obviously this week it made it to top 5. And then #2 weapon was Igneous Hammer, which this week it made it to top 3. And #3 is Ace of Spades, followed up by Rose. We got 2 more hand cannons, so you can see the 120s are falling pretty far in the statistics here. Then we have the Matador 64, which made it into the top 10 as well, as #9 this week, followed up by the Summoner Adept, which again made it over here. And then the Outbreak Perfected, Lunas Howl, the Thorn, and the Lunas Howl again make it into the top 10, so probably 2 different versions of the Lunas Howl, rounding off the top 10. So things have changed quite a bit. We got an auto rifle here, almost the #1 spot, pulse rifle in the absolute #1 spot. The meta has definitely shifted big time. If you haven't used these exotics in PvP, you should give them a try. It might help you get to the lighthouse. Not only do we have the stats on the top 10 most weapons though, but you can see in the top left here, we actually have the top 30 weapons. So we can have top 10 for each category, starting with the kinetic, the energy, and the power. Let's go with the kinetic first. The Kvastov makes up 39% of all kills in trials this weekend. That's a lot. That's a lot of Kvastov kills. That's a lot of auto rifle spraying. Followed up by that Conditional Finality, 11%. And then the Rose with 11%. Followed up by the Someday Shotgun with 10%. The Ace of Spades, 8%. After that, we got Outbreak Perfected with 5%. Messenger, 5%. Hawk Moon has 4%, not too bad. Jade Rabbit with 4%. And the No Time to Explain with 3%. Now, not too surprised given the map that we're on here. We got Midtown. And you're going to see some, mid-range to long-range weapons sprout up here, especially as you got a bigger map like this. Maybe on a smaller maps, maybe on like Javelin 4. Some of these weapons wouldn't shine as much, like Jade Rabbit. I don't think you see that as much on Javelin 4. Moving on to the energy weapons, we have the Red Death Reformed, 42%. That's incredible. Almost half of all the kills this weekend in trials are from the Red Death. So that is the hard meta right now in week 1 of the final shape for trials. If you haven't used it, then you're going to get shot by it. If you don't use it, you're going to get shot by it a lot. So be mindful of that. Next up, we have the Igneous Hammer, the Summoner, and then the regular Summoner. So we got the Adept and regular all in the top 4 for energy weapons. The #5 energy weapon, Matador 64. And then something new here, we got the Halfsies rifle, makes it to #6 in the top 10 energy weapons, which is not too surprising to me because this weapon is so good and actually can get some crazy rolls. And so if you haven't grinded out and got one of these LC rifles, it's really nice. Then we have the Still Hunt Sniper. So this is a Golden Gun Sniper, makes it into the top 10. Some people out there farming for some PvP clips, I guess. Followed up by the Graviton Lance. Very interesting to see that the Lance make it up here. The Heliocentric Sidearm makes it into the top 10. and then the riposte makes it the top 10 for energy weapons. Wow. All right, and then for the top 10 power weapons, it's still a heavy GL meta. We have the cataphract to the #1 spot, followed by the hammerhead. We got a machine gun in #2 spot. We got the pro memorial and the hammerhead again. So maybe the hammerhead's the two combined. I guess that's 24%. So maybe it's a machine gun meta or heavy ammo. It looks like it's really close between cataphract or hammerhead. Let me know in the comments if you are picking up power at trials or using heavy ammo at all. Are you going with the machine gun? Are you going with the grenade launcher? #5 goes to the commemoration. #6 goes to edge transit, and then again cataphract, the other half sword, the edge transit, grenade launcher, followed up by the unwavering duty. So those are the top 10 for each category. Now the last statistic that we can bring up is actually the most used classes, and without a surprise, obviously between Titan, Hunter, and Warlock, Hunters have always been extremely dominant in their popularity in Destiny 2, but they've been even more dominant when it comes to PvP, largely due to, in my opinion, I think they have just probably one of the best like movement classes out there, and movement is really important inside PvP. So I decided to slap my Hunter on here and just throw on whatever prismatic build I could come up with. And I didn't get to use too much prismatic in this gameplay here just because this match ended so fast, but I put on prismatic Hunter, and 31% of all Hunters out there are using prismatic, and 47% of all Guardians in trials are Hunters this weekend, so be mindful of that. Hunters are out. Warlocks, Titans out there, stay strong in these trying times. All right, it's a Hunter meta still. It's going to be Hunter meta, it looks like, for a very long time. Titans are down to 29% usage, or Titans are at 23% usage, and Warlocks are at 29% usage rather. Prismatic Hunters again being the most popular, 31%, followed up by 6% of the Hunters out there are Solar, 4% Void, 3% Strand, 1% Arc, and 1% Stasis Hunters out there. I don't know who's out there using Stasis Hunter right now when Prismatic's out, but you're weird, and I guess enjoy it. So, next up we have the Warlock stats. 14% of Warlocks are using Prismatic, 10% are using Solar, probably enjoying those wells because of trials. And then we have 2% of Warlocks are using Void, okay? They're like, screw it, I'm using my Nova Bomb, I don't care. And then we have 1% of Warlocks using Stasis, 0.7% using Arc Warlock, and 0.4% using Strand Warlock. So basically no one using Strand Warlock out there. If you're using Strand Warlock, you are an anomaly. Scientists are going to dissect your brain and study, why are you using this? Why are you using Strand Warlock right now? Next up, we have Titans. 23% of all usage goes to Titans, the lowest usage, right? However, if you are on Titan, if you're like, fuck it, I'm stubborn, I'm gonna use Titan, apparently Prismatic is the play. 12.3% of Titans are using Prismatic, finding success with that. Followed up by 6% using the bubble still, of course, because it's trials and the bubble is still very potent. And then after that, it's just a steep decline, which is surprising to see, especially because how strong Arc Titan was for a while. Now it's only at 2%. 2% of the Titans out there are Arc, 1% are Solar, 0.6% are Strand, and the most abysmal class, the least used class, is Stasis Titan. If you don't know any friends out there that are Stasis Titans, tell them to seek help, okay? Tell them to seek help immediately. If they loaded in the final shape and said, now's my time to rock Behemoth, they need to seek help as soon as possible. You need to help those friends. Don't let your friends don't let friends run Behemoth Titan in the final shape, okay? 0.4%, the least used subclass on the least used class. You are an anomaly. You need to be studied. They're gonna study you in the future for sure. Let me know your thoughts about the Destiny Trials meta report in the final shape. What weapons are you using if you're making it fly house? Are you playing PvP at all? Like I said, I'm just enjoying farming out these exotic class items, creating some prismatic builds. I don't even have time for PvP. Trying to get all these class items is taking up all my time. So that's a wrap on the Trials meta report though. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.